Today, I'm looking at one of the biggest community wish lists for Stalker 2 Update 2.0. This wish list has been doing the rounds again, but today I'm answering one simple question. How much of it is actually realistic? This isn't a criticism of the community. In fact, I'd love to see GSC Game World to add every feature on this list. But large wish lists can also create huge expectations, and when those expectations aren't met, players often leave disappointed. So today I'm rating the biggest requests one by one to see what's really likely, possible, and probably not happening in Update 2.0. Let's start with the easiest one. We already know Cost of Hope launches alongside Update 2.0 on August 20th, with a second story expansion expected sometime in 2027. Beyond those two major DLCs, I fully expect GSC to continue supporting the game with smaller quests, weapons, gameplay improvements, and quality of life updates, just as they have done since launch. Verdict: very likely. This is where most of this wish list focuses, and is where expectations become a little more complicated. The biggest request is to increase the online A-life distance beyond the current limits. Personally, I don't think we're suddenly going to jump to 300 meters. After everything we've learned about the engine upgrade and the optimization work happening behind the scenes, I think around 200 meters is a much more realistic target. Everything beyond that would generally surprise me because every additional active NPC increases CPU workload, AI calculations, pathfinding, and combat simulation. The next request is for NPCs to search for artifacts. This actually feels achievable. We already have mutants feeding on corpses, so having experienced stalkers investigate anomaly fields or search for artifacts doesn't seem impossible. It would make the zone feel much more alive, and NPCs reloading while moving is another feature I'd love to see. Right now, they often stop in the open, making them easy targets. Allowing them to reload while repositioning will make firefights feel faster, smarter, and much less predictable. I'd also love to see better reactions to nearby combat. If a firefight breaks out nearby, NPCs should instantly stand up, investigate, draw binoculars, or take cover, instead of carrying on as if nothing happened. The wish list also mentions wounded behavior. This is actually something we've already started to see. Human NPCs can now retreat, reposition, and seek better cover after taking heavy damage instead of always fighting to the death. Some mutants also disengage briefly before attacking again, making encounters much less predictable. However, I still love to see proper wounded animations return, especially for creatures like bloodsuckers, just like we had in the original trilogy. Trading between NPCs and merchants would also be a fantastic addition. Imagine seeing stalkers buy equipment, sell loot, and gradually improve their trader inventories as the game progresses. Finally, mutants dragging corpses. This might be one of my favorite ideas on the entire list. The original Stalker games had blind dogs dragging bodies away, flesh creatures interacting with corpses, and mutants generally behaving more naturally. Stalker 2 already introduced feeding animations, so expanding that system with corpse dragging and more believable interactions would make the zone feel far more dynamic. If you notice the theme here, it's this. Many of these features already existed in some form in the original games. They're not impossible, they simply need time to return. Verdict likely, although 300 meter online A-life is unlikely for Update 2.0. Now this one is interesting, but it's an old post. This is just doing the rounds again, and for some reason, it's fooling a few people that it's a real roadmap. We're only just moving to Unreal Engine 5.5.4, so expecting to move to Unreal Engine 5.7 immediately simply isn't realistic. That said, GSC hasn't ruled out future engine upgrades. Other games have upgraded engines multiple times throughout development. Fortnite moved from Unreal Engine 4 to Unreal Engine 5, Ark Survival Evolved transitioned from UE4 to UE5, and Rocket League has announced plans to move from Unreal Engine 3 to Unreal Engine 6. So could Stalker 2 eventually reach Unreal Engine 5.7? Absolutely. Will it happen in Update 2.0? No. I'd expect something like that much further into the game's life cycle, perhaps around the second expansion or beyond. Verdict possible, 2027 plus. This one feels almost guaranteed. We almost certainly receive new weapons, weapon variants, attachments, and equipment through Update 2.0 and especially through Cost of Hope. The DLC will naturally introduce new locations while Update 2.0 strengthens the foundations of the zone itself. What's even more exciting is what happens after the next phase of the zone kit releases. Once modders have full access to better tools, I think we'll see entirely new quest lines, restored cut content, locations from the original trilogy, and completely new gameplay systems created by community in time. Kosovo already teases mutants like the Cadaver, and even if it's only a boss encounter officially, I would be surprised if modders eventually allow us to encounter it anywhere in the zone. More cut content could officially return in future expansions or patch updates, but more likely with mods. Verdict: really likely, slow at first, but I expect the floodgates to open for mods. This is probably the biggest misconception I see in the comments. Yes, multiplayer is still planned, but from everything GSC has previously said, we're talking about traditional PvP modes like Team Deathmatch, not open world co-op. Personally, I don't expect multiplayer before mid to late 2027. I could easily see GSC launching it alongside the second expansion once the core single-player experience reaches the level they're aiming for. As for co-op officially, I wouldn't expect it. Through mods, never say never. We've already seen projects like Cyberpunk multiplayer mods prove what's possible on PC. Verdict: possible PvP, unlikely official co-op. This is probably the section where I agree with the wishlist the most. Fast traveling with random stalkers would make exploring the zone much more immersive. Custom difficulty sliders would also be incredible. Imagine being able to individually increase mutant aggression, AI intelligence, loot rarity, anomaly density, emission frequency, or even spawn rates. That's the sort of system that massively increases replayability. Choosing exactly how long you sleep, similar to Fallout or Skyrim, also feels like an obvious quality of life improvement. Translated road signs, I'm a little more divided. It would certainly help players outside Eastern Europe, but part of Stalker's identity is the authenticity. Thankfully, mods already solve this problem for anyone who wants it. Photo mode is another feature I've wanted since launch. Mods can already achieve something similar, but an official cinematic photo mode like Cyberpunk 2077 will be a fantastic addition. Variable zoom scopes also feel much more achievable now, thanks to the engine improvements coming with Update 2.0. Overall, I think this entire quality of life section has a very good chance of becoming reality over time. Verdict: likely. The PDA could definitely use more depth. One feature I'd love to see return from the original trilogy is the Stalker ranking system. Watching your reputation grow from an unknown rookie into one of the zone's legendary Stalkers added a genuine sense of progression. Faction influence could also become much more meaningful, especially as future expansions introduce new regions and larger conflicts across the zone. Verdict: possible, so let me know what you want to see in the 2.0 in the comments. I'm now pushing myself to make daily Stalker 2 videos, so if you want to get on the hype train with me, consider subscribing. If you want even more info on the engine updates or the 2.0, it's on screen now.